Have you ever watched a rocket launch? Before that thing ever leaves the ground, engineers spend months, sometimes years, building the launch pad, testing fuel systems, running simulations, tightening every bolt. Without that infrastructure, the rocket never makes it into orbit, no matter how powerful the engine is. Your financial goals are the rocket. Your systems are the launch pad. If you only dream about blasting off without building the pad, you're going to explode on the launch day. That's exactly what Jim Rohn meant when he said, "We don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems." Most of us think setting a financial goal is enough. We scribble in our journal, "I want to save $10,000 by next year," or "I want to earn six figures," and then we go back to living the same way. I know because I used to do it. In 2018, I wrote down that I wanted to pay off my student loan of $12,000 in 1 year. The problem was I had no system. I was freelancing, spending impulsively, and hoping my discipline would carry me. By September that year, I had actually increased my debt. That was when I stumbled on Jim Rohn's teaching about building systems instead of relying on willpower. A system is simply a repeatable set of actions that make success almost automatic. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't debate every morning whether to do it. You have a routine. The same should be true with money. Jim Rohn used to keep a simple notebook to track every dollar. Today we have apps, but the principle is the same. When I finally created a system, I automated my savings so that every Friday morning, as soon as my freelance payment hit my account, a fixed percentage went into a separate high-yield account I could not easily touch. I also built a habit of doing a weekly review every Sunday evening with a cup of tea. Within 8 months, I had cleared the $12,000 and had $2,000 extra saved. The goal became reality because the system did the heavy lifting. Another example, my friend Anita worked in retail earning about $22,000 a year. She always said she wanted to start a small bakery, but she never had enough money. Together, we built a simple envelope system. Every week, she put aside just $50 cash in a separate envelope labeled Bakery Dream. We also set a rule that every time she got a tip or an unexpected refund, half of it went straight into that envelope. After 18 months, she had saved close to $4,000 and used it to buy a second-hand oven and start her weekend baking business. That's the power of a system. It's not glamorous, but it's unstoppable. The first key to building systems that actually achieve your financial goals is clarity. Jim Rohn said, "The major reason people fail is not a lack of discipline, it's a lack of clear direction." Vague goals like, "I want to be rich," don't inspire systems. Specific goals do. When I decided to save for a trip to Europe in 2020, I didn't just say, "I want to travel." I wrote down, "I need $5,000 by June 2020 to cover flights, accommodation, and food." With that number, I could design a plan backwards. I divided 5,000 by the number of weeks and realized I needed to save about $100 every week. That clarity gave birth to a system. I cut out daily coffee runs and cooked at home 3 nights more a week, and that alone freed up $100 weekly. By the time June arrived, the trip was fully paid and stress-free. The second key is automation. Willpower is a terrible banker. If you have to manually transfer money every month, you will skip it on the months you feel squeezed. Automation removes temptation. I met a young couple last year, James and Ria, who wanted to build a down payment for a home within 3 years. They earned average incomes, but they created a system where 10% of each paycheck went automatically into a joint savings account at a different bank. They called it their future home fund. They never saw that money in their main account, so they never felt it was theirs to spend. 3 years later, they had saved over $20,000 without feeling deprived. Systems protect you from your weaker moments. The third key is measurement. What you don't measure, you can't improve. Jim Rohn always carried a journal and tracked progress. In my case, I use a simple spreadsheet. Every month I record income, savings, investments, and progress toward each goal. It takes 10 minutes, but it has changed my life. I once coached a student named Leo who earned a decent salary but ended each month broke. We simply tracked his spending for 30 days. He discovered he was spending about $300 a month on food delivery alone. Just seeing the number shocked him into action. We then built a system, a meal prep Sunday, and an automatic transfer of that $300 into his investment account every month. In 1 year, he had $3,600 invested instead of eaten. The fourth key is environment. Systems live inside environments. If your environment pushes you towards spending, you will sabotage your goals. When I was trying to stop impulse buying online, I removed all saved cards from my favorite shopping sites. That extra friction saved me hundreds. Anita, the bakery friend, used a cash envelope because she knew keeping the money in her bank account would tempt her to swipe. Another client, I helped set up 2 phones, one for work with social media, one personal without social media, to reduce the impulse to buy things he saw in ads. Building a system is not only about numbers, it's about designing your environment to support your goals. The fifth key is incremental improvement. Jim Rohn said success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day. You don't have to create a perfect system at once. Start with one small habit. For example, round up your purchases and save the change. Or commit to tracking your expenses for just 1 week. Or automate just 5% of your income. Small, consistent steps beat big, unsustainable ones. When I first began investing, I started with just $50 a month into an index fund. It felt like nothing, but the system was more important than the amount. By the time my income grew, I simply increased the percentage. The habit was already there. Today, that small start has grown into a significant portfolio. The sixth key is linking your system to your identity. If you see yourself as bad with money, you will sabotage your own systems. Start saying, I'm the kind of person who saves 10% of every dollar, or I'm the kind of person who invests for the future. Jim Rohn said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Systems work best when they express who you believe you are. My cousin David always said he was terrible at saving. He lived paycheck to paycheck. We reframed it. We said, you're a builder of freedom. He created a visual board showing his dream workshop. Every time he transferred money to his savings, he called it laying a brick. Within 2 years, he built up enough to start his woodworking side business. The system became an expression of his identity. The seventh key is review and adjust. Life changes, goals shift. Your system must evolve. When the pandemic hit in 2020, my travel fund system became irrelevant. Instead, I redirected those automatic savings into an emergency fund. Because I already had the habit, the change was easy. People who rely on raw motivation often abandon their goals when circumstances change. Those with systems simply adjust the inputs. Here's a personal story to wrap these keys together. In 2015, I was working a 9-to-5 job, earning about $28,000 a year. My dream was to start my own design business, but I had no capital and no time. Jim Rohn's seminar recording, How to Have Your Best Year Ever, hit me like a brick. He said, don't start with what you want. Start with who you want to become, and then build daily disciplines around it. So I created a system. I woke up at 5:30 every weekday and spent 90 minutes working on my business before work. I automated 15% of my salary into a separate account labeled Launch Fund. I tracked every expense. I cut cable and sold unused gadgets. 2 years later, I had saved over $10,000 and built a small client base. When I finally quit my job, I didn't feel like I was leaping off a cliff. The system had built the bridge for me. This is the real secret behind Jim Rohn's teaching. Goals are exciting, but systems are what get you there. A system turns a wish into a plan, and a plan into a habit, and a habit into results. Whether you want to pay off debt, build an emergency fund, start a business, or retire early, the question is not what's my goal, but what's my system. Do you have automatic transfers set up? Do you review your numbers weekly? Do you measure progress? Is your environment designed to support you? Have you started small but consistently? Have you tied the habit to your identity? If you take nothing else from this talk, take this. Your financial freedom is not a single event. It's the compound result of small systems you build today. Jim Rohn said, the same wind blows on us all. It's the set of the sail that determines the direction we go. Your goals are the wind. Your systems are the sail. Set them right, and even a modest income can build wealth over time. Leave them to chance, and even a high income will slip away. So tonight, before you sleep, grab a notebook, write down one specific financial goal with an exact number and date. Then ask yourself, what is one simple system I can put in place tomorrow morning that would make progress automatic? Maybe it's an automatic transfer. Maybe it's deleting your shopping apps. Maybe it's meal prepping. Maybe it's tracking every dollar for 7 days. Start small, build the habit, then layer another. Within months, you'll look back and realize your systems are quietly achieving what motivation alone never could. Because in the end, it's not the size of your dream that matters. It's the strength of your system. That's how you actually achieve your financial goals.